Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I'm your teacher Simi Namer, and today I'm here again with a new lecture. I hope everything goes well at your home. As you know, dear student, that this challenging time, it's a big challenge for us. So now we are supposed to be doing social distancing. So please keep follow the government's SOPs and stay at home. Let's proceed to the lecture. This is my lecture number 12 for grade O1, and today we have a history class as we are done with our geography syllabus. So we will try to finish the history syllabus as soon as possible. So today we are going to start chapter number 13. This is the last chapter of first term syllabus. And the chapter is Why did East Pakistan seek and then form the independent state of Bangladesh? So please keep on page number 134, and this is the new chapter. Why did East Pakistan seek and then form the independent state of Bangladesh? As it was the past, it was the part of Pakistan, and the second wing of Pakistan as East Pakistan. So the introduction here is I want to take you um, to a little past, to about 1940, and remind you the event that happened in 1940. In 1940, the Premier of Bengal, or we can say the chief or the leader or the Prime Minister of Bengal, Fazlul Haq, put forward the Lahore Resolution, which demanded that Muslim majority regions, as in the northwest and eastern zones of India, should be grouped to constitute independent states in which the constituent units shall be autonomous and sovereign. So, it was like Lahore Resolution, which was also known as Pakistan Resolution, and that was passed collectively by Muslim League in 1940. And the motto of the resolution was to have the independent state. And here the locations are given that the northwest and eastern zone of India should be grouped to constitute independent states in which the constituent units shall be autonomous and sovereign. Like both the units should have their own self government, they will have their own authority, they will be in freedom. So, this measure was passed unanimously by the Muslim League. This led the people of Bengal to believe when independence came, there would be an autonomous state center in Bengal also. But in 1946, the word states became state. Like at first, they said they will have states, autonomous states. Like if we consider East and West Pakistan, so they became two states. But in 1946, as we get our independence, as we got the independence in 1947, so till 1946, the word states became state, and in 1947, Muslims in Bengal found themselves governed from Karachi, as they've decided self-autonomous. They decided the word autonomous, which is a self-government, which is a freedom. But they didn't give any of part of the government to Bengal, or we can say to the East Pakistan. So the Muslims of Bengal found themselves governed from Karachi, from West Pakistan. They were also apart or shocked, we can say, they were also shocked to learn that Bengal was once again to be partitioned. It was decided by the Red Cliff and even accepted by the Muslim leaders. So Bengal was once again to be partitioned with a significant portion going to India, and that was Calcutta, which was a major city and was the only industrial city of Bengal. So this included the major city of Calcutta with its port and important industry. So from as early as 1947, seeds of tension were sown. events were to make that tension grow. So, social and cultural disparity. Disparity means inequality or imbalance between the two wings of Pakistan. When Pakistan was formed in 1947, it consisted of two wings, East Pakistan and West Pakistan. The capital was in West Pakistan, and many people in East Pakistan did not feel like they were equal partners in the new nation. So, geographically, Pakistan was not a political compact unit because it consisted of two wings which were separated by more than 1,000 miles distance. With the passage of time, the binding force of Islamic ideology weakened and regional feelings suffered under Hindu influence. It suffered as a barrier in a way of complete political harmony. So, from a very beginning, a problem arose that was the Bengali controversy. Like the people from East Pakistan uh, spoke Bengali, but Urdu was chosen as the national language. They protested that Urdu was the mother tongue of only 6% of the whole of Pakistan, whereas Bengali was spoken by 56% of its people. But the Qaid was determined to use Urdu as a uniting force. He refused requests for Bengali to be made a joint state language and visited Dhaka to tell the people that Urdu and only Urdu shall be the state language of Pakistan. And he said the people of Bengal were free to choose Bengali as the official language of the Bengal province. This he said very clearly and unambiguously on both occasions, and the Premier of Bengal, Khwaja Nazimuddin, also reaffirmed this. Urdu alone would be the state language and the franca of the Pakistan state, like the national language. Bengali, like other provincial languages, could be the official language of the East Bengal province, but not the Pakistan state and the Pakistan center. Why he did this? He actually wanted to unite the whole nation of Pakistan in East Pakistan and in West Pakistan, as the people were too divided in many cultures and many languages. Like Pathans were there, Punjabis, Sindhis, Balochis, and Bengalis. So he gave a uniting force, a uniting symbol to them, and that was Urdu. On December 8, 1947, students at the University of Dhaka demanded that Bengali be made an official language of Pakistan. Sorry. Pakistan government forcefully tried to stop the demand of the Bengali. Muhammad Ali Jinnah declared during a speech in Dhaka that Urdu and only Urdu will remain as the state language of Pakistan, uh, or the East Pakistan on in East Pakistan on March 24th, 1948. As a result, some protesters had been killed and many more were severely injured on 21st of February 1952. So in 1952, students called a state language day. That was a language movement. They called for a state language day on 21st of February. The government banned protest on that day, but a march was still held, resulting in several deaths when police used tear gas to break it up. Further protest and further death followed, but it was not until the 1956 constitution that Bengali was recognized as one of the official language of Pakistan. The Bengalis were offended or upset by this opposition to Bengali language. particularly as they also had a different culture from West Pakistan. The culture of Bengalis differed greatly from Punjabis, Pathans, Sindhis, and Balochis. Their food, language, and way of lifestyle were distinct from the people of West Pakistan, and the citizens of East Pakistan were culturally more closed with Indians, especially with the citizens of West Bengal. When Bengal was partitioned, so the part of that Bengal where now there was Indians, they were really closely connected with them. Much of their art, music, and dance and their cultural heroes were different from those found in West Pakistan. It seemed that East and West Pakistan were two parts of the same country but divided by thousands of miles and by culture. In his autobiography is a life story, Friends, Not Masters. Friends, Not Masters, that's the name of the autobiography, and it was a political autobiography by Ayub Khan. He stated that there were those in West Pakistan who considered their culture to be superior to that of East Pakistan. This did not go unnoticed amongst the East Bengalis. Economic disparity between East and West Pakistan, or we can say economic inequality or imbalance between the two wings of Pakistan. The newly founded Pakistan was a poor country. East Pakistan was uh, very much the poorer of the two wings. Like already Pakistan was a poor country, but the East Pakistan wing was in a miserable condition. Since 1947, trade with West Bengal had been cut off and poverty was common there. When the government took steps to help boost the economy, the measures seemed to favor West Pakistan. More than twice as much foreign aid and capital investment went to West Pakistan as East Pakistan. The Bengalis also believed that the earnings from their trade in jute were used in West Pakistan. Let me tell you one thing very important, that East Pakistan was the largest jute production area at that time of the world. And after partition, like after the separation of East Pakistan in 1971, all the 12 jute mills in West Pakistan depended almost entirely on jute fiber imported from Bangladesh. Then some efforts were being renewed to grow jute in the country to feed the local industry. Between 1949 and 1960, the per capita income increased in the West Pakistan from 330 rupees to 373 rupees. I'm talking about the West Pakistan, that it was increased from 330 to 373 rupees. And in East Pakistan, it declined. Instead of increasement, it declined from 305 rupees to 288. In 1951, the per capita income of East Pakistan was 85% of that of West Pakistan. In other words, West Pakistanis were on average 15% wealthier than East Pakistanis. And by 1970, the gap had grown to 40%. The Bengalis believed that West Pakistan's economic growth had taken place as a result of transferring the resources from East Pakistan to West Pakistan. They argued that the single largest Pakistani export was jute, which was grown in East Pakistan, whereas perhaps the largest spending by the government was on defense to protect the border with India. Since most of the border between the two countries lay in West Pakistan, some East Pakistanis considered that spending on the army was really to protect West Pakistan. There was no major border dispute between East Pakistan and India. So the huge differences were built in the infrastructure sector in East and West Pakistan. During the period of 1947 to 55, only 10% of total expenditure of the central government was spent in East Pakistan, whereas rupees 1,496 million was spent in the development sector in West Pakistan during the period. The amount spent in East Pakistan was only 514.7 million. So you can see the difference, although the population of East Pakistan was higher than West Pakistan. In 1947 and 66, East Pakistan had a trade surplus of 4,924 million. Like you can see, it was a trade surplus, the extra revenue, extra profit to the East Pakistan, whereas West Pakistan ran into a deficit. Deficit means in a negative balance of payment, and that was about 16,634 million. So naturally, East Pakistan surplus or profit was used to meet up the West Pakistan's deficit. Three capital cities, Karachi, Rawalpindi, and Islamabad, were built in phases in West Pakistan. An amount of rupees 5,700 million was spent till 1956 for Karachi alone to build it up, but Dhaka got only 250 million. A lot of differences were made in the health and education sector as well. This differences was also seen. This difference was also seen in health and education. In 1948, there were only 200 doctors and 3,000 hospital beds in the whole of East Pakistan. Between 1947 to 58, the numbers in primary school in West Pakistan rose by 163%, but in East Pakistan, the increase was just 38%. During 1947 to 71, school infrastructure declined, like it was declined steeply in East Pakistan, while West Pakistan gained extra 35,287 additional primary schools. Those in East Pakistan experienced a negative growth. By 71, the total number of primary schools in East Pakistan declined by a total number of 902 compared with the number in 1947. Similarly, the growth of secondary schools suffered. West Pakistan enjoyed a higher growth in enrollment, matched by a large increase in the total number of schools and teachers. The educational backwardness of East Pakistan was also manifested in relatively low levels of educational attainment and functional literacy. According to census or a survey, 1961, 38.2% of children aged 10 to 14 years were reported in civilian labor. They were in civilian labor force in East Pakistan compared to 23.3% in West Pakistan. And East Pakistan experienced a decline, again a decline in the number of graduates and postgraduates. The Western unit, on the other hand, not only had a head start in terms of total number of graduates and postgraduates, it registered 21.3% and 68.6% growth in these numbers, respectively. Political disparity, or we can say imbalance or inequality between the two wings. East Bengalis also complained that although they were a majority in the Constituent Assembly, Governor Generals and Prime Ministers were nearly always from West Pakistan. This was also true of appointments of senior position in the armed forces. Less than 20% of officers were from East Pakistan. To senior government positions and to posts in civil services. Even high level posts in Dhaka was usually filled by West Pakistanis or refugees from India who had become Pakistani citizens. So it was truly a resentment. The 1970 cyclone, which was named as the Great Bula Cyclone. The 1970 Bula cyclone remains the deadliest tropical cyclone ever recorded and one of the deadliest natural disasters. At least 500,000 people lost their lives in the storm, primarily as a result of the storm surge that flooded much of the low lying islands of the Ganges Delta. On 12 November 1970, the deadliest tropical cyclone ever recorded hit East Pakistan, and up to 500,000 people lost their lives. The government in West Pakistan was slow to react, and political leaders in East Pakistan accused the government of gross neglect, neglect negligence, the callous indifference, and like careless, heartless, and utter indifference, complete indifference. The Pakistan Observer sent reporters who sent backstories with headlines such as "No Relief Coordination," even though the government claimed that relief operations were being carried out efficiently. India was one of the first nations to offer help, and East Pakistanis were angered to hear that the government had refused to allow India to fly in aid. Instead, it had to be transported much more slowly by road. Obviously, the west wing of Pakistan was thousands of miles apart. So the aid coming from that part is obviously too slow. It was just weeks after the cyclone hit East Pakistan that the elections for the National Assembly were finally held. They were to create even more problems for Yahya Khan, the chief of the army at that time. The main parties in the elections for the National Assembly were the Pakistan People's Party (PPP), led by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who was the father of Benazir Bhutto, which was based in West Pakistan. His total support was based in West Pakistan, and the Awami League, that was the again prominent party of Pakistan led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, which was based in East Pakistan. The Awami League was able to win support by proposing a program which called for a fairer share of government spending and more power to the provinces. It was able to exploit the sense of frustration felt by the people in East Pakistan towards their Muslim countrymen in West Pakistan. The Awami League won their huge victory by campaigning on the basis of 6 points. The Awami League party was from East Pakistan, and the leader of this party was Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And their manifesto was their 6 points. According to their 6 points, the first point, the constitution should provide for a federation of Pakistan in the true sense on the basis of the Lahore Resolution. Like they asked for federation in Pakistan. Federation is actually a group of states with a central government but independence in internal affairs. Like there should be a central government, just like we have now the federal government, like Islamabad is a federation and that is a central government. But the rest of the provinces are autonomous and they have independence in their internal affairs. Anyone can make their own government in different in any province. Like People's Party is in now the People's Party is governing Sindh. The PTI is governing KPK and Punjab, but before Punjab was governed by a Muslim League. So that is the self-autonomous of the provincial system. So they asked for federation, which means that a group of states, like a group of different provinces, like KPK, which was NWFP at that time, Balochistan, Punjab, Sindh, and Bengal, they would have independence in their internal affairs, so that like East Pakistan would get some authority. And they stated that it was even stated in the Lahore Resolution, which was Pakistan Resolution. And for a parliamentary form of government based on the supremacy of a directly elected legislature on the basis of universal adult franchises, like it was, they called for a complete democratic system, and They asked for a universal adult franchise-like voting system. The federal government shall deal with only two subjects, the defense and foreign affairs. Like only the two areas would be under the federal government, under the central government. The residuary subjects or the leftover subjects will be vested in the federating states, like all other decisions to be made at the provincial levels. The third one is there should be either two separate freely convertible currencies for the two wings. Currency is the money. Or one currency with two separate reserve banks to prevent interwing flight of capital. It means that there should be separate currencies or financial policies for East and West Pakistan. And that was specifically to stop all the money flow from East Pakistan to West Pakistan. And the next one is, fourth one is the power of taxation and revenue collection shall be vested in the federating units. Like the taxation or the revenue collection or the profit collection should be in the hands of provincials, not in the hand of federal government. The federal government will receive a share to meet its financial obligation. It means the provinces to tax their people and send a share to the federal government. The federal government not to tax people. And the fifth one is economic disparities between the two wings shall be disappeared through a series of economic, fiscal, and legal reform. There should be some amendments in the economic, fiscal, and legal reforms to um, to make some equalities between the two wings in the economic sector. Fiscal is relating to government revenue, especially in the form of taxes. So each province to set up its own trade agreements with other countries and to control the money spent made through this trade. Like the profit made by the country, by the wing, should be in the hands of that wing. And the last one is a military or a paramilitary force must be created in East Pakistan as well, which at present has no defense of its own. Means each province to have its own troops. Like East Pakistan was always under the threat of West Pakistan because mainly the military was controlled by West Pakistan. So he asked for us that each province should have their own troops. The election resulted in a stunning victory for the Awami League. 162 of the 300 seats in the election were allocated to East Pakistan. The Awami League won 160 seats, which gave them a majority in assembly. The Pakistan People's Party won just 81 of the 138 seats in West Pakistan. This presented Yahya with a situation which he could not tolerate. The Awami League had contested the election on a manifesto calling for political and economic independence for East Pakistan. The League would have a majority in the National Assembly. Yahya could not allow the traditional dominance of West Pakistan to be overturned, as this was a huge problem that the East Pakistan was always governed by West Pakistan. And it was intolerable for the West Pakistan to give the whole power to East Pakistan, as Mujibur Rahman was from East Pakistan and he got the majority seats in assembly, so he was actually able and had the right to establish his own government. Why did the victory of the Awami League cause a constitutional crisis? As you know that the Mujibur Rahman of Awami League had a stunning victory, and he got from the reserved east wing of Pakistan reserved 162 seats. He got 160 seats. There were two major problems created by the results of election. Number one, the Awami League had won such a large number of seats that it now had a majority not only in East Pakistan but also in the National Assembly as a whole. That meant that it was in a position to form a government on its own. Like sometimes the party, any of the party is getting majority of the votes, but the party is actually not able to make its own government. Rather than they are making coalition government, like they have to ask for another party to meet up with them to join them for making a government, just like this Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf government today's. You can see this is a coalition government. They asked Chaudhry's party, Muslim League CAF, which is Pakistan Muslim League Qaid-e-Azam group. He got their alliance in the government and they made the coalition government. But the Awami League of Mujibur Rahman, they were able to make their own government. In theory, the future prime minister and the entire cabinet could come from East Pakistan. Although Pakistan People's Party had won an overwhelming victory in West Pakistan, it was quite possible for it to have no role in the government unless the Awami League invited it to share power. The second problem was that the Awami League had won the election on a program limiting the power of central government over the provinces. Like it was their manifesto in the 6 points. I've already told you that they were actually asking for the provincial autonomy. So that was the huge problem. The call for the provinces to have control of their foreign exchange earned from trade would greatly reduce the funds available to the central government in West Pakistan. Obviously, there was more trade revenue of the East Pakistan, which was previously spent on West Pakistan. The revenue of East Pakistan was more than West Pakistan, and which was previously spent on West Pakistan. Consequently, Yahya Khan and the West Pakistanis politicians were not prepared to allow the 6 points to be put into action. Mujib believed that they were negotiable, but he had little chance to explain this before steps were taken against him. So I think that's enough for today's lecture. Inshallah, we will continue in the next lecture and we'll try to finish the chapter. So here is your assignment. You have to do 3 questions, 2 for 7 marks and 1 for 4 marks. The question is, why do you think that Awami League was able to have a stunning victory in the general election of 1970? So obviously a white question for 7 marks, you have to give at least 3 reasons, and you have a lot of reasons that why a party from East Pakistan was able to have the stunning victory in the elections. So like his manifesto, you can tell about the manifesto or the 6 points of the Awami League, and the language issue, that was the language issue which became a language movement for the East Pakistan, and again the economic disparity by the government created. So, and even the Bola cyclone, you can add, that was a disaster, and how the government from the West Pakistan reacted in this disaster. So these were the reasons. You can elaborate these reasons in 3 different paras, and that is your question. The second one is, why did the victory of the Awami League cause a constitutional crisis in 1970? Even the question is available in your book on page number 136. Here, 2 points are given. You have to give 3 points in the answer because it's a why question for 7 marks. So take the point from the manifesto of the, or from the 6 points of the Awami League. You can create your third point from the 6 points of the Awami League. That which point you can see may be controversial for both the wings. And then is the third question is who was Mujibur Rahman? If you, as you know, you have to give me only the introduction of Mujibur Rahman for in a para for 4 mark question. Please do this work in your notebook. Do it neatly and tidily, and please make a margin line. Must write today's date and day, and please maintain your index. Thank you so much, dear students, for watching the video. If you still have any confusion about the lecture, although I've tried a lot to give you some details in the lecture, in the slides, but if still you have any problem, you can drop down your questions in the comment box and we'll meet up again with another video with a new lecture. Till then, bye.